Hello and hey nerds. There were some questions regarding the wiring of the Telefunken V672 after I posted my last video, which I'll link up here and probably down there. The thing is that I had my fair share of trial and error with an emphasis on the latter, unfortunately. So I figured why not make a tutorial on how to do it properly. This method here is proven and works guaranteed. Let's take a look at the 2 bits of documentation that are vital here. As you can see, setting up the gain is via 2 different methods over here. We have 2 ranges, one from 0 to 35 dB and a second one from 35 to 66 dB. The second bit, which is the one we'll be focusing on, is set up with a constant input resistor. Right here they're choosing 40 ohms, and then you're varying the feedback loop resistor named RG over here, right? So we have input resistors constant at 40 Hertz and a variable feedback loop resistor RG. Telefunken recommend 40 ohms. In my experience, this is a bit low. You get more low end out of dynamic microphones by picking something like 270 ohms. Now with this out of the way, let's look at the actual wiring. Here you have the aforementioned input resistors RE. For 40 ohms, you'll have to pick 2 times 20 over here. Again, I personally prefer something around 150 ohms to get a bit more bass from dynamic microphones. As far as the rest is concerned, this looks a bit complicated, so I figured why not grab a connector and build a harness from scratch so you can follow step by step. First, we need to match the input resistors RE. This is to achieve the best common mode reduction. So I have a bunch of 47 ohm resistors here. I get up my multimeter and see that I can find a pair that is in the same range. So here we have 46.8. 46.8, perfect. Here we have your matched pair. Now that's what I call quick work. Okay, let's go. There you go, that's your input resistors. So next up's going to be the wire links, and we have a couple. Here's the jumpers installed. So to summarize, we have one going from pin 30 to 29, another one going from 23 to 22. This jumper here goes from 21 to 17. Note how I used insulated wire because we're going to need this very pin in between here, pin number 19. And we have our ground, which I extended from pin 13 to pin number 12. Next up is going to be power. Be sure to use shrink tubing for plus 24 volts because you don't want any short circuits with those flimsy soldering lugs on the connector here. Now let's wire up the input and output cables. Note how I also put some shrink tubing on the stranded shield wire over here just to prevent any short circuits. Okay, let's go. So here's where we at right now. This is your output here, and note how I did the wire link over here. So we have 2 proper pins for the shields, one for the input cable and another one for the output cable. So last but not least, we just need our feedback loop resistor that'll set the gain. This one goes between pins number 9 and 10. And we're done. The feedback loop resistor is a 250K logarithmic pot. You're actually better off with a 500K one because that should give you about 3 dB more gain. But hey, I'm fine with this one here. The leads go on the middle and right solder terminal if you look at the rear of the pot. Again, they go to the pads number 9 and 10. Let me once again go through all the pins we have here, okay? Plus 24 volts goes to pin number 31. We have a wire link between 30 and 29, and that's where also 0 volts from the power supply connects. We have a wire link between 23 and 22, another wire link between 21 and 17, wire link between 13 and 12. We have our input resistors with a value of 40 ohms minimum, higher values recommended between 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. Your input goes to pins number 7 and 8, ground being hooked up to pin number 12. Your output goes to pin number 19 and 20, ground hooked up to pin number 13. There you go. And lastly, if you want to use the second output transformer, don't forget about the wire link between 27 and 24, and your output will then be between the pins 25 and 26. Here's my annotated wiring diagram. Don't forget the wire link between 29 and 30. Also, we're adding one between pins number 13 and 12 to have an additional ground soldering lug, which helps with wiring the sleeves of the inputs and outputs. There you go. I hope this answers your questions. Thanks for watching.